Good morning, everyone. I'm here this morning to discuss the recent case filed by Calvin Brutus, Brutus versus the Attorney General of Guyana. In this case, he seeks $800,000 on the premise that the government is discriminating against him. And let me put the claim up right away because I want to do this as a quick hit. So this is Brutus' claim. Calvin Brutus versus the Attorney General. And really, but let me say this off the jump. The parties to this should have been the Commission of Police, the Police Service Commission, and the Attorney General of Guyana is always named in these proceedings on the Judicial Review Act. But this is Brutus' claim, and he hired Darren Wade to do this, which is interesting. So Brutus is now claiming that his fundamental rights to equal protection of the law as guaranteed to him by Article 149D of the Constitution is in breach, and that his fundamental right to be protected from discrimination on the grounds of race is breached. His human rights under 154A of the Constitution and the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination is breached. A declaration that the government diversity policy of the Guyana Police Force is discriminatory on the basis of race and in contravention of the Constitution again. And he cites three different provisions. He cites 149, 149D, and he cites the Section 5 of the Prevention of Discrimination Acts, Chapter 99. 1. He seeks an order of mandamus directing the state to discontinue the government diversity policy of the Guyana Police Force. He seeks damages in excess of $800 million because of his Article 149D right. And I pause at this point to note that in a recent case where a youth was killed by the police and the state accepted liability, the court awarded the family of the dead youth $25 million. So juxtapose that with Brutus' claim. Brutus is a serving assistant commissioner of the Guyana Police Force. He hasn't lost his job. He's still an assistant commissioner of police, and he's still getting paid as an assistant commissioner of police, notwithstanding that he's facing more than 200 fraud charges, and notwithstanding that he has all these bank accounts that I can pull up with millions and millions and millions of dollars. He really doesn't need the Guyana Police Force money with all those millions of dollars he's got sitting in all those bank accounts. Even his 2-year-old is a multi-millionaire by Guyanese standard. But let's see what he says here. He says he's a police officer of African and Amerindian descent. He's an assistant commissioner of police and performed the functions of deputy commissioner administration between the 16th of August 2020 and the 4th of July 2024. Right, and then he says what he was responsible for. He was responsible for putting government directives into operation, preparation and implementation of police budget, and he assumed sole responsibility for its human resources management. And it says that he was second in command, and next in line to be appointed assistant commissioner, to be appointed commissioner of police of the Guyana Police Force. It says that in the last quarter of 2020, at a meeting involving the president, vice president, ministers of government, and the commissioner of police and other government officials, a directive was given by the vice president that the structure of the Guyana Police Force should mirror the ethnic composition of the population of Guyana. That would be reflected in such areas as recruitment, promotion, training. It was described as a government diversity policy. He doesn't, Brutus doesn't say whether this policy was was directed orally or in writing. But he says this policy was immediately discriminatory to members of the Guyana Police Force of African descent, as the force ethnic composition did not mirror that of the Guyanese population. It is estimated that 90% of the members of the force are Afro Guyanese. He says he expressed his frustration to Robson Ben. He says that hundreds of Afro Guyanese who were better candidates for certain roles were sidelined in preference for Indo-Guyanese officers in order to meet the diversity quota. He speaks about his move on July 4th from administration to special branch, and that Assistant Commissioner Budram was placed in that position to gain experience. Then he speaks about him being sent on administrative leave on the 11th. That he was put on administrative leave on August 21st, 2024. On September 4th, he received a letter dated August 29th from the Police Service Commission referring to the Minister's Memorandum of August 21st, 2024, advising him that he's on administrative leave, effective August 22nd. And then he says, well, the claimant was not afforded a hearing before a decision was taken to place him on administrative leave. And you'll see that this is just grasping at straws. He doesn't require a hearing before being sent on administrative leave. Administrative leave, with his pay and full benefits and everything, is a decision that could be taken in the deliberate judgment of the commission, and no such hearing is required. He knows that already because the Chief Justice told him that in July of 2021. And so he wants a mandamus directing the state to discontinue the government diversity policy of the Guyana Police Force. That is just nonsense. I cannot see any court in Guyana or any part of the world where there's a multicultural, there's a multi-ethnic, there's a multi-religious, and multi-everything. Guyana has 6 races. Irrespective of whether the police force is 90% Afro Guyanese significant efforts must be made to ensure that the Guyana Police Force reflects the population it serves, which means that a drive to recruit indigenous persons, a drive to recruit East Indian persons. And Clinton Conway spoke about that on one of his programs where, they have police training colleges now in different parts of Guyana. And even at the training colleges, they try to respect the ethnic needs of the recruits that come in. So some recruits complain that instead of porridge, they wanted roti and baigan choco in the morning. And the force made efforts to do that, to respect, the needs, their food needs. They also, the Muslim officers, they also have prayer rooms for them, that sort of stuff. But Brutus claim in 2025 is rich. Look at his affidavit. Brutus says that the government had this diversity policy in 2020. And let's look at an affidavit that Brutus prepared. And let's look at the date this affidavit was prepared. Brutus filed an affidavit in furtherance of his own claim. Right? He filed an affidavit in furtherance of his own claim when he was challenging the Paul Slow-led Police Service Commission, and that's 2020 HC Dem Civil FTA 1199. And it wasn't the government that was going after Edmund Cooper unless he provides that evidence now. Edmund Cooper, Philip Azor, and Corley Simon. Rest in peace, Edmund Cooper. Right? This guy sent letters. Calvin Brutus sent letters to these people telling them, and these are all Black people, and he's Black and indigenous, telling them that they were under criminal investigation. And then he marked as exhibits the letters. Right? Let's go to what did you see the letter signed by him? He signed this affidavit in April 2021. Right? April 2021. He signed this affidavit. See? Nowhere in this affidavit does he make any reference to the government diversity policy that he claims was handed down in late 2020. Nowhere does he claim that he was discriminated on the basis of race in terms of his promotion. Nowhere does he claim that any rights under the Constitution or any other act or legislation that he now cites was violated. He puts an affidavit in from Waveney Clark, who apparently tried to serve the late Edmund Cooper. And you'll hear what the Chief Justice has to say. This is a letter written on December 24th to Corley Simon, a great guy who is the regional commander of Region 5. And this is what he wrote in his imperious manner. Alleged corruption by public officer. The above subject matter refers Be informed that a criminal investigation has commenced against you by the Special Organized Unit, SOCU, for alleged corruption by a public officer. Brutus, Senior Superintendent, Deputy Commissioner, Administration. Right, that's what he wrote to Corley Simon. It's another letter that he wrote, and it's going to automatically flip around to Edmund Cooper. Be informed that a criminal investigation has commenced against you by the Special Organized Crime Unit for alleged corruption by public officers. Well, in 2025, we now know he's got bank accounts with millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he's got over 200 fraud charges against him. Talk about the circle of life. And he did this on Christmas Eve day as well to Philip Azor. Be informed that a criminal investigation has commenced against you by the Criminal Investigation Department, and he signs it. He writes another letter to Cooper on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. The man couldn't even eat his black cake in peace and get his pepper pot and bread to settle in his stomach because of these letters. Be informed that a criminal investigation has commenced against you by the Criminal Investigative Department. See, Brutus, 2020, 12/24. These are all black officers, right? Brutus is the one that sent these letters. He doesn't say he sent the letters on behalf of anyone else. He sends the letters. And now he's complaining about in 2025, he's complaining that the government was oppressing black officers. I'll let you hear what the Chief Justice had to say about them. In 2021 July, the Chief Justice of Guyana, Roxanne George, described Calvin Brutus' letters of December 24th, 2020 to various officers as strange. She described it as self-serving. She described it as vague. She described them as unsubstantiated. And she said that those letters represented a conflict of interest. The same could be said as to what he's doing in 2025. He filed a claim in November of 2024 and withdrew it. And I'm going to pull that up before I end this live. And now he files another claim for $800 million. He's not entitled to be a deputy commissioner administration. He was acting in that position, and he could be moved. He doesn't have a transport in that office. That the commissioner of police decide in his own deliberate judgment whether or not he spoke to Barrett Jagdeo, or whether or not he spoke to President Ali, or whether or not there was a cabinet discussion. All that is beside the point. It's of no moment. The decision as to who to sit in which position rests with the commissioner of police. And so the commissioner of police made that decision. So his claim is faulty as it is, the 2025 claim, again, because he doesn't list the commissioner of police. He's an assistant commissioner of police. The Police Service Commission sent him on administrative leave. The Police Service Commission rightfully should have been a party to the proceeding so they could respond to his claims, whether they have merit or whether they're specious. But let's hear what the Chief Justice had to say about this man who now faces over 200 fraud charges.
Affidavit stated that the commission is not bound by any recommendation of the commissioner. It was due to the service of these proceedings and or the report about it in the media that these officers all became aware that they have been promoted by the commission. They further depose that they are unaware of disciplinary proceedings against them. Cooper, Stephen, Azor, and Simon further stated that Brutus should provide supporting evidence. They also stated that the applications are premature and without merit, since the commission has not made a final decision as regards motions. Additionally, Cooper contended that he is more academically qualified for promotion than Brutus, while Azor and Simon asserted that they are as equally qualified as Brutus to be appointed as assistant commissioner. Brutus and Bacchus filed affidavits in reply. Brutus produced letters dated December 24, 2020, of allegations of criminal and disciplinary allegations, disclosing criminal and disciplinary allegations against Cooper, Azor, and Simon. Bacchus produced two letters dated November 19, 2020 and December 24, 2020, addressed to the challenged Officer Washington. In the first, it is stated that she's to proceed on leave pending the outcome of an investigation which was not identified. And the December 24 letter stated that she was under investigation for larceny by clerk or servants and other offenses. All the letters were signed by Brutus. As regards the allegation by Bacchus against Washington, since he also deposed that on or about December 24, 2020, the commission made a decision on promotions that did not include him, I conclude that it is passing strange that a letter of December 24, 2020 would only then be sent by Brutus notifying Washington about her alleged infraction. Jupiter's and Narayan's applications also indicate that on or about December 24, 2020, there was a meeting of the commission at which candidates for promotion were shortlisted and they were not named. Lists of those shortlisted for promotion, which do not include the names of the applicants, were exhibited in each of the 5 applications. The letters addressed to Cooper and Simon alleged that criminal investigations had been commenced against them for alleged corruption by public officers, while that addressed to Azor vaguely alleged that a criminal investigation had been commenced against him. It is noted that the application by Brutus was launched on December 29, 2020, in circumstances where his lawyer's letter of complaint to the commission on his behalf on the matters in issue is dated December 17, 2020. In my view, this is a clear case of conflict of interest. The letters, all dated December 24, 2020, do appear to be self-serving. These circumstances also lend to suspicion in relation to the letter to Washington, which was signed by Brutus. I do not accept the submission by Mr. Satram that there was no one else to sign the letters and that Brutus did so as the GPF, as the police force officer in charge of administration. As such, the letters containing these allegations against his rivals and that in relation to Bacchus cannot be given any weight. Brutus further said in reply that Cooper and Simon were informed of these allegations, though of the allegations against them, but there is no proof of this.
That is the man that we're talking about. He should have never, after that judgment of the Chief Justice that found that his letters were strange, self-serving, vague, unsubstantiated, and formed a conflict of interest, he should have been removed from administration from since then. It's the same thing that's going on right now. It's the same playbook. he's using now to harass and to hector Ravindranath Budram, who was put into the position of Deputy Commissioner Administration, and he was moved to Special Branch. It has nothing to do with race, because look, you saw what he did to 3 Black officers. One of them is now dead. And you saw what the Chief Justice of Guyana said about him. And look what he did. Look at Brutus in 2024. In 2024, he filed this claim, and he subsequently withdrew it. And in this case, he was represented by 5 lawyers: Earl Daniels, Dominic Best, Uburn Alicock, UC Anderson, Renee Marcus, and Cassie Norris. In 2025, he's represented by Darren Wade in this application. And I could only imagine that the lawyers, if I was the lawyers, I would have told him that given the fact that you filed a similar application in 2024 and you withdrew it, you face the prospect of being deemed a vexatious litigant. If I was the Attorney General, when he's withdrawing these applications, I would have made it clear to the court that these applications are being withdrawn with prejudice. So in this case, see, this case here, he's got all his rivals, well, not all, but some of his rivals listed. He's got Ravindranath Budram, who is now Deputy Commissioner. He's got Fazal Karimbash, who is now a Deputy Commissioner, substantive, and Errol Watts, who is now an Deputy Commissioner, substantive. He's got them listed in this application. This is a 2024 one. And in this one, let's scroll down. In this one, he was seeking $400 million. He's up the ante now to $16 million. But it's the same claims that he made then, right? See it? Same claims. In this case, he said, well, he lost access to his bank accounts, estimated at 80 million Guyana dollars. He's lost the ability to pay his doctoral tuition fees, $3 million. He's lost his office. He's lost his reputation, self-esteem, self-worth, and value to be determined. He suffers from PTSD and a whole bunch of stuff. This guy has no shame. bank accounts that in the name of Brutus, his wife, his son, and his businesses. His Republic Bank account, and they have the individual and entity, the commercial bank, the bank account number, and the account balance. So Calvin Brutus had an account at the Republic Bank, and there's a bank account number, and that had $2,170,239 as of July 2024. His wife, Adonica Alicia Alder, she had an account at the Demerara Bank. The account number is there, and she had $1,584,226. Calvin Brutus had an account at the Republic Bank. The account number is there, and that had $7,601,891. Kitus General Contracting and Holding at the Republic Bank account. The account number is there. That had $56,671,675. South Quarters Contracting and General Supplies from Republic Bank. The account number is there, and that had $243,398,370. AAA Depot at $108,683, $683,945. We're talking about somebody who was and still is a public servant. We're talking about somebody whose salary doesn't even come close to this. We're talking about somebody who is crying, somebody who got super, super rich, and now crying that the government diversity policies discriminate against him. Mr. Brutus has to pick a struggle. He really has to pick a struggle, and I find, and as a legal analyst, I can say this. That application that he just filed, you notice who filed it? It's not the 6 or 7 lawyers that he had that filed it in November, that filed a similar claim in November. He's got the young Darren Wade that did it this time around. I can't see any court even moving with that application past a preliminary stage to strike it. That application has no merit, none whatsoever. And I would, if I was representing Ravindranath Budram, I would have put all his previous legal proceedings in, including his affidavit that he swore in April of 2021 that made no reference to any discrimination on the part of the government, which is the same government. He said he got this information in late December. But you'd think he would have put it in the affidavit that when he was fighting to get promoted as assistant commissioner. It's you know, I would put the Chief Justice of Guyana's ruling in as well, because the same thoughts that the Chief Justice echoed in July 2021 is the same thoughts that are resonating in 2025. Same thoughts: self-serving, strange, unsubstantiated conflict of interest. Well, we're going to end this live now. And people can like, share, comment, and let me know what your thoughts are about this latest issue with Mr. Brutus.